Good evening, everyone, here from Finland. This is Michael, and we're continuing with our Reappearance of the Christ meditation, one of the meditations given by the Tibetan in the book Discipleship in the New Age, Volume 2. I'd like to, before we get into the meditation, as usual, read a little from the book The Reappearance of the Christ. We're on page 64. Okay. It says, the sentence before we begin the new section, that of the Christ, his resurrection is accepted, but the major appeal of the churches has been upon his death. Obviously, it's the living Christ that we seek. Christ has been for 2,000 years a silent, passive figure, hidden behind a multitude of words, written by a multitude of men, commentators and preachers. The Church has pointed us to the dying Christ upon the cross, and not to the living, working, active, present Christ, who has been with us in bodily presence according to his promise for 20 centuries. Let us therefore endeavor to get a truer picture of Christ's activities and life, and consequently of our future hope. Let us try and realize the ever-present yet divine person laying his plans for the future, helping of humanity, assessing his resources, influencing his disciples, and organizing the details which will attend his reappearance. We need to awaken faith in the factual nature of divine revelation and galvanize the Church of Christ into a truer appreciation of him and of his work. It is the living, acting, thinking Christ with whom we must deal, remembering always that the gospel story is eternally true and only needs reinterpreting in the light of its place in the long succession of divine revelations. His mission on earth 2,000 years ago is a part of that continuity and is not an extraordinary story having no relation to the past, emphasizing a period of only 33 years and presenting no hope of the future, or for the future. What is the hope held out today by the orthodox and unimaginative theologians, that at some distant date, known only to the inscrutable will of God, the Father, Christ will issue forth from his seat at the right hand of God, and followed by his angels and by the church invisible, descending upon the clouds of heaven to the sound of a trumpet. He will make an appearance in Jerusalem. The battle raging at that time will then end, and he will enter the city of Jerusalem to rule for 1,000 years. During this millennium, Satan, or the principle of evil, will be bound or imprisoned, and there will be a new heaven and a new earth. Further than that, we are told nothing. Humanity hopes for so much more than the picture, more that the picture presented does not intrigue them. I doubt that any of us would be intrigued by this very literal and, I have to say, childish presentation. It's the literality which is a problem, and taking in concrete terms that which is meant to be symbolic. Behind this portrayal, if rightly interpreted, stands the human, the loving, and the divine presence of the Christ, embodying divine love and wielding divine power, directing his church and establishing the kingdom of God on earth. Something, that is not easily accepted by the doctrinaire types. What is the Church of Christ? It is constituted of the sum total of all those in whom the life of Christ or the Christ consciousness is to be found, or is in process of finding expression. It is the aggregation of all who love their fellow men, because to love one's fellow men is the divine faculty which makes us full members of Christ's community. It is not the accepting of any historical fact or theological creed which places us en rapport with Christ. The citizens of the kingdom of God are all those who are deliberately seeking the light and attempting through self-imposed discipline to stand before the one initiator. This worldwide group, whether in the body or out of it, accepts the teaching that the sons of men are one. They know that divine revelation is continuous and ever new, and that the divine plan is working itself out on earth. I think that gives us enough to ponder, and in another 7 days, on the 30th, we will continue. We can continue to read this Reappearance of the Christ. So ending today, 23 of July 20, and beginning again on the 30th of July 2020. It is really the great theme that we are dealing with here, and it is the hope for humanity and the planet. So let us now work ahead. Breathing in the white light, and seeing our co-disciples in the light. We focus on our triangle or triangles, seeing them as a whole, and realizing we work together esoterically to stimulate men and women of goodwill everywhere and members of the new group of world servers. And love and goodwill and light pass through our triangles group and through the entire network of triangles. And then achieving a positive and intended personality quietness, we formulate clearly to ourselves and in our own words the answers to the following questions. As a member of the new group of world servers, what is my specific fixed intention at this moment of dedicated contact with the soul? Is my concentrated and expressed personality purpose in line with hierarchical intention as far as I am permitted to know it? Have I, in my own personal daily life, earned the right, because of definite effort, and not so much because of success, to stand with those servers who are now undertaking the work of preparation? And this is the one time in the meditation where we think of ourself, the personality becoming gradually soul infused. And we're doing that because all this is a method of personality focused attention. And it does align our personality on the mental plane. Now, having answered these three questions in the light of the soul, then we say with emphasis this mantram which, really separates the sheep from the goats. Forgetting the things which lie behind, I will strive towards my higher spiritual possibilities. I dedicate myself anew to the service of the coming one, and will do all I can to prepare men's minds and hearts for that event. I have no other life intention. Then we visualize the world situation as best we can, and in terms of our major world interests, and with what knowledge of world affairs we may possess. We see the mass of men everywhere, glowing with a dim light. And here and there, points of brighter light where members of the new group of world servers and men of spiritual intention and of loving hearts are working for their fellow human beings. And then we visualize through the creative imagination the vivid light of the hierarchy, and we see it streaming toward humanity and slowly merging with the light which is already in the human race. And then together we say the first stanza of the great invocation. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of men. Let light descend on earth. And then we ponder on the reappearance of the Christ, realizing that no matter by what name he may be called in the many world religions, he is still the same great identity. We reflect and speculate upon the possible results of his appearance. And we realize that he will unfailingly come when a measure of peace has been restored, and when the principle of sharing is at least in process of controlling economic affairs, and this will surely lead to greater opportunity for peace, and when the churches and political groups have begun to clean house. Notice they don't have to complete the task, but they must have begun. Then he will come, and then the kingdom of God will be publicly recognized and will no longer be a thing of dreams and of wishful thinking and orthodox hope. And then we say the second stanza, or the second verse of the invocation. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of men. May Christ return to earth. We endeavor to concentrate our fixed intention to serve and to spread love in our surroundings. And we realize that insofar as we can do these things, we are attempting to blend our personal will with the divine will. And speaking of the will, we say together the third stanza or verse. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men, the purpose which the masters know and serve. And then we lay our practical plans, considering what we can do in the coming week to further the preparations for the coming of the Christ. This is still the era of the forerunner, and for another 5 years will be, and much preparation must take place, even though the actual time of the reappearance is not given to us to know. We cannot run around saying, lo here, lo there. We don't know. But we have to fulfill the requirements through right preparation. Let us respond to the vibration of the Christ, committing ourselves in His name. We have gathered in your name, Lord Maitreya, be with us. And now we sound the Om 3 times as we prepare to close our little alignment, to be done, briefly, but intensively, and with full earnestness, full belief, full faith. We want to thank you, Tuya and I and the whole team, Michael, Joe, BL, Michael, several, for being with us. We will have tomorrow our morning Cosmic Fire in Depth at the usual Zoom link, which is persistent week after week now. And then a glamour, dissipation of glamour at night. 5 p.m. GMT. We'll do everything we can to prepare the way for the coming Christ. And we will close with a song which comes from the Return of the Christ Oratorio, and it's about Christ blessing the world beneath his great pine in his garden at the sunset hour, as DK tells us he does. That's the evening hour, that's the Libra moment, and indeed in his horoscope, the presence of Pisces, the great love decanate, and Libra for the Prince of Peace, I think are both very strong. So thank you for being with us, and lots of love and many blessings from all of us.
Daily, to